I'm over here on this side of town. Come on over here, try to clown. I never pipe down. If they weren't coming for me, then they definitely coming for me now. Use your common sense. Why is NASA Part Department of Defense? They divided up the seas into 33 degrees, feeding kids masonry. Bro, be careful what you read. Flatline. There's no superior bloodline. Flatline. You got me once, but that died. Ay, boy.
YouTube, what's going on? This is Logan Oren, and I'm back with a new video. Now today what I want to do is I want to give a response and an analysis of a interview that Georgia lawmaker Erica Thomas had, where she was being interviewed by V-103, I believe that's who it is, regarding her incident with Eric Sparks in a Publix grocery store. Now I'm going to go through the video and I'm going to play it, and I'm going to kind of stop every once in a while when I want to give some commentary. So I just want to kind of break it down and just bring up some important points and ask some really important questions that I believe should be asked by the media and by Erica Thomas's constituents after this matter and the information is playing out, or the story's playing out, and we're hearing new information. Feels like every day. So starting out, I want to go ahead and I want to bring up the fair use disclaimer. This is basically I'm using the clips and video from these sources as criticism and commentary, and hopefully to be able to educate some people who may be watching, so that you do not fall into the trap that unfortunately this man Eric Sparks has fallen into. All right, so let's go ahead and let's begin.
Erica Thomas, State Representative, welcome back to the show.
Thanks for having me.
Last time you were here, we were talking about something totally different.
Yeah.
Now, when I first watched this video, and I did not realize who V-103 was, and I didn't. I just realized now, when or a few minutes ago, before I started, I looked down at the bottom and I saw Frank Ski, and then I realized, hey, this is Frank Ski, and from the Atlanta show where Cat Williams and Wanda Smith had their little episode. So I did not realize who he was. I'm not from Atlanta or Georgia, so I had no clue about anything with this particular radio station.
Yes.
And I just want to tell everybody, when your post hit, right away, people started hitting me. Nina hit, Larissa Craig from our news department hit, was like, boom, this is going on right now as we speak. And when I turned it on, I just remembered, like, I just felt for you. Like, just to see you there crying without even having to see what it was about.
See, at this point in time, this is problem number one, where he's watching her video of her crying, and I'm not going to play that video. I'm sure all of you have seen it, but this is the problem, or this is problem number one with a lot of liberals. A lot of liberals, they don't, you put something out, in the media, put something out on the web, and it's believed, and it's taken to heart automatically. And instead of, you can hear from his own words, instead of like taking a step back and finding out what happened, he immediately, feels sorry for her, ready to jump to her defense and be that white knight.
I was just like, man, that was incredible. How did you feel when you were, obviously you were tearing up when you did it?
Yeah, I was definitely taken aback. It was an emotional moment. It was a real moment for me because I'm used to defending other people or standing up for other people. I'm not used to being berated myself. And especially in the state that I was in, it was definitely a terrible feeling to have. And I just wanted to be real with the people and show people like, sometimes you can't see hate.
Yeah.
You can't feel it when it's done by other people. But I wanted people to see and feel the hate that was done to me.
Unfortunately, in your video, no one sees the hate that was done to you. What we do see is your quote unquote reaction to what you said was hate to you. And now, so you did not succeed in showing people the hate. You just succeeded in garnishing, sympathy from people who feel bad when they see a female crying.
You are 9 months pregnant?
9 months. 2 more weeks to go.
And you were just, was it, let me ask this, because we're going to play a piece of the clip in just a second, but was it that pregnancy emotion was it that, or was it just you, like, what was it?
See, when all of this stuff was unfolding, and I thought to myself, well, maybe her emotions, was a result of the the hormone imbalance and just the craziness that women go through when they're pregnant, and they can go from 0 to 100 miles an hour in the blink of an eye. So at first I really didn't. I wanted to try to give her the benefit of the doubt to see kind of what happened. Or not only say this to see what happened, because all we could go on was her word. But when we were talking about her video and how she's breaking down into tear, because from the video I saw one tear that happened to fall out of her eye towards the end of the video. But I wanted to see, well, is this just, is she just overreacting, to her emotions that she, had once she came home? And we don't know how long that of a stretch there was between her leaving the store, getting home, and then making this video. It easily could have been a situation where she just, the emotions, the pregnancy emotions and hormones just got the best of her, and then she broke down into an emotional, collapse, and decided to then put it out on the internet for everyone to see.
Because normally when somebody says something or do something, you kind of like, yeah.
I think it was a mixture of things. I think that the biggest thing for me was 2 things. One, I was so astonished that this man did this. He walked out of a grocery store, came back into the grocery store, and tried to berate me. And then the other thing was that I was just so hurt that no one did anything. Like, no one stepped up for the pregnant woman until the very end and told that man to leave. That really hurt to see all of these.
Take us through. So you walk up to because Sharon has a question. You walk up to the line.
So I walk up to the line, and I'm trying to get everything together. I have a picture of my receipt. I took a picture of it because I'm like, let me just see exactly how many items I have.
That's what I wanted to know.
Yeah, so it's 12 items that I had. 12 items. There's the receipt right there.
And this is the issue that I've got with, the whole how many items that she had. Because this number changed every time someone's talking. You hear 15, you hear 20, you hear 11, and then I've heard 12, and then I've heard you hear her saying that she had 12 and her daughter had 3, so which is 15. So when it comes to hearing the numbers, I do want to I'm stopping in here and kind of wanting you to key into the fact of how many items that she says that she has. And so when she tells you how many items she had, and then she'll even go into the amount of items that her daughter had, but just with the amount of items that she was personally buying herself, I want you to let that number sink into you, and then think about how many items are allowed in the express lane.
I'm looking at the receipt.
And what the man didn't know is that this was the first time that my daughter was actually paying for a couple items herself. We're teaching her about credit. We're teaching her about her having her own debit card, and she has a card. And you can see it in the video. She used her card right after me, and she had a few items too, but they were her own items. She had 3 items. So I guess he assumed, that all of those items were mine. But either way, it didn't matter. I didn't know until
Wrong. It doesn't matter. It didn't matter. Either way, it doesn't matter. All right. The rule is 10 items. If your daughter was buying her items, she was kosher. She was good to go because she had 3. You did not have 10 items. So it does matter. Why does it matter? Because that's the rule.
Until the Publix manager told me that, because I didn't see the surveillance, that he actually left out of the grocery store and came back.
So when did he say something to you?
He came up to me, and while I'm, checking out, I'm about to put my card in.
Was he in line behind you?
I do not remember seeing that man line behind me. No. It was 2 lanes open. So it was my lane, and then it was 2 other lanes, and the one beside me and the other one on the other side of me. That's the lane he went through.
There were 3 lanes that were open. There's your lane, and then there were 2 other lanes. That's 3. That's not 2.
And he said that on camera, that there were 2 lanes open, and that's the one he went through.
So
and
he
left
went
out of the
through.
store. So we didn't inconvenience him because he left out of the store and came back. He said that on camera. He said, I left out, I thought about it, and then I came back.
So I don't understand why that matters. Why does it matter that he walked out of the store and then he came back? It does not matter. He was going to say something to you regardless. And it happens to everybody. I've had, when you're going to, or you want to do something, you feel in your heart that you need to do something. Sometimes you have to think about what you're about to do. And whether it's right or it's wrong, you may have to it may take you some time to kind of gather yourself to say what you got to say, or to give you the courage that you need in order to do something that you want to do, or do something that you should do. I can't remember, how many times that, let's say it's something as simple as I'm in the store. And perfect example. There was a girl that I wanted to talk to, and I drove by her, and I saw her in a laundromat, and I drove by. I could see her from the car, from the road, and I stopped. And then I pulled into the parking lot, and I thought about it. Should I say something? I don't know. And I stopped, and then I pulled off. I didn't feel like I had the courage to kind of go up and say something to her. So I drove off. But then before I got to, exited the parking lot, I turned around and I pulled back. I sat in the car for a little while. I waited, is this what you want to do? Are you going to do this? Are you going to man up? All right. And I got out of the car and I went and talked to her. How often does that happen? You think about things before you do them, and sometimes you want to do something, but you're second guessing yourself all the way through. He could have needed to have calmed down before he approached you, because if he was hot enough to talk to you when he saw that you were in the express lane and you had too many items, and he went to talk to the employee, to the store manager, they wouldn't do anything. They tell him to come talk to you himself. And then, he's like, should I do it? I don't know. And then he walks out the door, turns around and comes back in. Why does it matter? what is the issue with him walking out of the store and then turning around and coming back in? You can say it was premeditated, yes, because I'm sure he was thinking whether or not he should have said something to you. All right, but the only reason why that matters is because you're holding on to the lie that he said go back to where you came from. So you're saying that he had to be boiling and fester, and that anger he had to think about, I'm going to be racist to this woman. I'm going to go and I'm going to tell her, you black woman, you better go back to where you come from. That's what you're trying to portray that storyline, and that's not what happened. So it did not matter whether or not he got out of his car. It doesn't matter whether or not he walked out the store and turned around and came back at all. So you got to drop it.
So let's hear the clip real quick. Hold on, JR.
So I decided to go live because I'm very upset because people are getting really out of control with this white privilege stuff. I'm at the grocery store and I'm in the aisle that says 10 items or less. Yes, I have 15 items, but I'm 9 months pregnant and I can't stand up for long.
Okay, right there she said if she was in the aisle for 10 items or less, and she had 15 items. My question is, that it's the express lane 10 items or less. All right? There were other lanes that were empty. Why didn't you go to the other regular lines that were open? All right? That were open. There was no, and what I've learned, is that a lot of times the regular lines go a lot faster than the express. I don't know about a lot of you people, but that are listening, the experiences that I've had is that in many cases, I go to the store and I see the express lane. Unless there's nobody in that express lane, I'm going through a regular lane because a lot of times the express lane still goes slower than the other lanes.
This white man comes up to me and says, "You lazy son of a, you need to go back where you came from." And he says that. I said, "Sir, you don't even know me. I'm not lazy. I'm 9 months pregnant." He says, "You're ignorant." It hurt me so bad. I'm sorry, y'all, because everything in me wanted to just tell him who I am.
Wow.
That's hard to hear.
Hard to hear. It's hard to hear knowing it's a lie too.
Really is.
That's tough to hear.
Yeah. It was tough. It was a really tough moment for me. And to try to be strong in front of my daughter, that was the biggest thing. I didn't cry at all in the grocery store while he was there. The tears didn't start falling until he left, because I had pride, of some sort of pride. But, when he left, that's when the tears started falling, because I just looked to the left, I looked to the right, and I was just ready for somebody to say, "Girl, that's crazy. I'm so sorry that happened to you." Or even the grocery worker that said, tell him to leave. She just walked away after that. She didn't say, "Ma'am, are you okay? Do you need to sit down? Do you need water?" Nothing. And that's when the tears started rolling from my eyes.
JR?
Yeah. Now, I'm not going to play the video of the camera footage inside the store. And, she, in her tear video, she basically says that all she could do, that she was so mortified, so horrified of what happened, that all she could muster and say, "Just leave me alone." That's all she could do. She could do it. If you watch that video, she did not look like, you can't even hear what they're saying, but you can obviously tell that whatever was said, whatever was going on, she did not feel like she was a helpless woman who could not, who didn't feel like she could, that she was going to be, that she was protected, that she was weak, or that she, that she needed someone to help her. At no point in time, and you can tell from the video. And if you haven't seen it, you really need to search for that video and watch the camera footage from inside Publix.
What's new to me is what you're saying about how he was in a different aisle. He wasn't.
yeah.
He wasn't even behind you.
Yeah, he left. He had his groceries in his hand when his bagged groceries in his hand when he came back to talk.
So he paid for his items in another aisle.
Yeah.
Paid, went outside, and came back just to
Yes.
tell you that.
That's not even it either. He left. He went talked to an employee and I want you to understand this is supposed to be the express line, and she was supposed to only have 10 items or 12 items or 11 or 12 items, and her daughter had 3, for a total of 15 total items in the basket. So she had 15 items in the basket, all right? And she was going through the express line, but he had enough time to go all the way, all right, to pay for his stuff, talk to an employee, have the employee tell him that they can't do anything and what he really needs to do, to have him walk to the door and turn around, and you still are not through the line. So, apparently, there was a lot of time that had to go by in order for you to get through that line. He did all of this stuff. And when we see the video, all right, you're still in line. And I'm going to bring up why you were still in line. And this is going to really attack the heart of your character and why you're the big problem. I mean, at the end, Eric is the problem. But we're going to kind of dive into what your problem is in this situation.
You got it. And he admitted to doing that. And this, the craziest thing is that when I was crying, I didn't even know, that happened. He admitted to doing all that, which makes it even more further damage. Just like they said, it's premeditated.
How is it damage that he walked out of the door and then turned around and came back to talk to you? How is that damaging? How is that more damaging, for him to have done that? And after hearing about what happened, what really happened, I believe that all of that time, I believe he was about 100 shades of hot at that moment when he saw you with too many items in the express line, because he seems like the kind of guy that's a jerk about that kind of stuff. So he probably needed all that time to calm down. And if he probably had confronted you while he was in the line, he probably would have said more choice words other than calling you a lazy bitch.
It was premeditated. That is just like what the police said. It's premeditated.
Oh, Sharon?
You face so much, right? I mean, we know the position you hold. And I've gotten this question too. We all have. Mm-hmm. Why not just ignore it? I mean, it's ignorant. The onus should not be on you. But in that moment, your daughter's there. Why did you choose to push back?
You know what? I have a responsibility as the position that I hold. I have a responsibility to speak out for other people. And, I was hurting. I looked messed up. But I put myself and made myself vulnerable because people need to see that this is not right. Mm. And hopefully by my video, somebody would think twice before saying, I'm going to go up to someone and berate them, because you don't know who people are. You don't know what influences they have.
You were teaching your daughter too?
Definitely teaching my daughter to stick up for herself, teaching her and showing her, look, you don't just let people do that. And what really made me upset was when we walked out of the grocery store and the quote my daughter said was, why would he call you a lazy SO? And I'm like, those are not words you say. That people have hate in their heart. And I had to show her that this is not right.
All right. So, okay. So let me, that's pretty pathetic, that you're now going to use your daughter, and you're going to put your lies in the mouth of your daughter. I am quite sure that this little girl is very used to you and the way that you act when you don't get your way. This is the issue that I well, no I don't want to address it yet. I'll go to it. Come back to it later.
We hear that side of the story. You hold a press conference, and in the middle of the press conference, the guy walks up.
Yeah.
And they asked him
Yes.
what happened. This is what he said.
I walked in, bought my 3 items. There were 3 checkout lanes. One was an express. The other 2 were empty. I kept my tongue shut. I walked and paid for my items. This lady I noticed had about 20 items on the conveyor. I walked up to the 2 customer service associates from Publix, asked them what can be done in a nice manner. They said, corporate policy, we can't do anything, but you as a customer can say something.
Okay.
I took a step outside the store, thought about it, turned around, walked up to Miss Thomas and said, ma'am, not to be rude, my exact first words, pointed at the sign, which shows it on the surveillance camera, which I've seen already. Pointed at the sign, 10 items or less. She berates me after that. I don't remember exactly what she said, but on camera she...
I don't know if you heard that, but when he said that he he told her, I'm not trying to be rude, but the sign says 10 items or less, and I told her this, and then she started to berate me, and then she breaks out to the at that, like, I could have not known anything that was going on. But at that moment, I knew that she was either lying or that that she was lying about everything, or she really was acting a darn fool while she was there. Because that little response, when someone makes an accusation or they say that you did something and then you break out into that little laugh, it's because you know that you did it. All right, but you want to make it seem as if you're innocent, so that you want to say that's so unbelievable. I'm gonna laugh. I'm gonna laugh at it. Instead of being appalled, like, because most people, that when you make an accusation, all right, that is when you make an accusation that is believable, all right. Not an accusation that is completely impossible. Now, yeah, if he said that he started talking to you and he said, ma'am, don't want to be rude, blah blah blah, and then she grabbed me and then choke slammed me and then choked me out, then yes, there's no possible way that happened. And she might laugh of the absurdity of that happening. But for her to then berate him, that's not impossible to believe. And so when someone is confronted or accused of doing something that is possible to believe, then a lot of times when they give that little that little laugh, like, I can't believe, it's because they actually really did it. And and they're trying to make it look like that it's absurd, when the actual thing that they're saying is quite believable. And I've seen it happen a lot, and I've mostly seen it through my ex-wife, who I remember talking to the police about something that she did and talking to other people, and then when I bring it up, she like, I know what would happen. I know what happened. I have no reason to lie. And and I know that I'm telling them the truth, and then her response was that making that little laugh, as if it's absurd that you would ever, and the way that she just laughed right there, is very reminiscent of me seeing my ex and other people react to someone accusing them something that they actually did, but they're trying to make it seem so absurd by laughing that there's no possible way that they could have done it.
She approached me, came towards me as I took a couple steps back. She said a few words. I do not recall exactly what those words were. I said, "You're selfish." She did mention she's 9 months pregnant. I said it doesn't matter in this case. It has no point on this case. There's 2 empty lines. You don't need to be in the express lane. I stated, well, you're selfish little bitch.
See, most people, they would flip. If someone lies on them, they will flip on you, especially if you know you didn't do it. You know, you don't sit there and make an accusation about something that's going to make you look bad when you know you didn't do it, and all you're going to do is sit there and giggle and laugh as if that's absurd that I would do that. No. I'm not falling for this. No crazy lady.
I did say that. That's all I said after that, and I walked out of Publix.
Erica?
See, at the eye roll. All of you grew up, you know what that eye roll meant. All right? All she can do is try to save face and make it seem as if she's innocent. And so she's got to do these gestures, when something is said that she doesn't want people to believe, so she's gotta react to it. All right? And that's where you get the eye roll. You got the laugh, and then you got the eye roll that she just gave.
Wow. That's just crazy to say that he said those one words and walked out of Publix, and even if
he never said, he just said those few words and then walked out of Publix. He never said that. All right? Never said it. He did. So, don't now you're putting words in his mouth.
Said that it's still terrible. The fact that this man admitted to walking
does not matter. Does not matter that he walked out of the door, turned around, and came back. Does not matter. Please stop bringing it up.
Out of the Publix, coming back into the Publix just to say something to me and to call me an SOB. And he admits to saying it, and he did not say that, I cussed him out first or anything like that. No, you came at me and called me an SOB in front of my child, and after I told you I'm 9 months pregnant.
I find it very hard to believe that he comes up to you just to tell you, I'm sorry, I don't mean to be rude, but the sign says this, and then immediately calls you a lazy, bitch, and you just sat there and said, just please leave me alone. You're asking us to believe that. Because that's what you said in your cry video, your 1 tear video, all right? That the only thing that you could say was just leave me alone, all right? And so you mean to tell me that all that he came out and he said, ma'am, I don't mean to be rude, all right? And he pointed to the sign, all right? And then there were some words after so you mean to say he did that? He said, but don't mean to be rude, pointed to the sign, and then said, you're a lazy bitch, and then walked away. Come on. Really? Okay? That's definitely not what happened. And when you look at the video, you can clearly see him walk up to you, talk to you, point to the sign. All right, and then there's exchange of words with you and him. Okay, so just all right.
Let's go to the phones real quick. Let's go to line number 1, Wayne.
This is what I was waiting for the whole time. I was like, this is a call-in show. I was like, are you not going to play any calls? And then they got the first call.
Line number 2 first, Brian in Midtown. Go right ahead. Brian?
Hey, Frank, good morning. So my question to Ms. Thomas is, what exactly was said to you? Because you have very contradicting statements. And the man clearly told you that he's not Caucasian, he is Cuban. So that's my question. What exactly was said to you? Because I'm here to support you. And I think the black community is here to support you, but we don't want to want somebody that is race baiting. So help us out here. Clarify, please.
All right, so I like this caller. All right, even though he said, I'm here to support you. And I think that that he's saying what he's really saying is that, look, your sister, all right, and there's not a lot of people that are supporting us, and so we want to support you. We want to support you. We want to have your back, but there's a lot of iffy stuff, iffy stuff that's being said, and we don't want to support a liar. So you got to give us facts, Ma. All right? You got to give us facts. Because right now we're hearing this side, his side, we're hearing your side, and and they're all different. There's some similarities kind of in there, but we want to hear facts from you. All right, so I like this guy. I like the what he's asking you. That's a good first question.
Go right ahead. He said he basically is asking what was really said to you, and that he basically said the guy is Cuban, so he's not white, but that's a whole nother conversation.
No. Okay, so here, Mr. Sent to the rescue. Okay, you know exactly why he mentions this. All right, because we know that this was all race baiting, and that yes, he is a white skinned male, but when people talk about white men, all right, they're talking about white males, Caucasian men from America or European countries. All right, but if you've got somebody who's fair skinned from a Latin country, from South America, Cuba, Dominican, Jamaica, somebody who's from one of those countries who has white skin, all right, then they're not really considered white. All right, they're not considered white. So he's telling you, look, don't sit here and try to say that I'm a white guy, because we all know when in the media, when the left talks about white people, white men, they're talking about white American men. All right, not talking about white-skinned people from other countries, from Latin countries, or from other non-European countries. So you knew exactly why he said that. And that's that you're a coward. A simping coward.
What was it that was said?
Yeah, that's very crazy to me for someone to say, he's Cuban. I don't know what that says. Hate is everywhere.
You know exactly why. All right? So don't.
But at the end of the day, he called me what he said he called me, and I don't even have to repeat it because he said that he called me that.
At the end of the day, you had 15 items in your cart. You had 12 items, and you went in the 10 or less item, 10 or less express lane. At the end of the day, that's what happened. You ignored the rule, all right, that is in every grocery store in America.
And then I said, you don't know me. You do not know me. And
what about the fact that he said you came up to him?
How can he say that I came up to him and he left out the grocery store and came back to me? The only thing.
If you watch the video, you see what he's talking about. You came back to him. When he started walking away, you started following him.
The only thing that he can say that when I was talking to him is I was pointing at the door, and after he said you go back to where I told him no, you go back, and it's clearly on the line. And I asked him why would he say that, but just to run through just to be clear, and let's run through what happened.
I would love to pull up the video. There's also a witness video of the employee who asked Eric to leave. All right. Well, there's a video where she's giving her statement. I guess it's to the police, but it's a video footage, and she's explaining. She's saying he never said go back. He never mentioned that or said that at all. You were the one who said, why don't you go back to where you came from? So, this is why the guy asked this question. All right, because you're saying stuff, but everybody else who is involved is saying something completely different.
he came up to me. He said, you had 20 items in a 10-item lane. And I said, I'm sorry, sir. I am 9 months pregnant and I can't stand for long.
That's trash. That's a lie. That's a lie. Okay, go ahead.
Then he said to me that, no, you're a lazy SOB. That's what you are. And I looked like, what? You don't even know me. You do not even know me. How can you say something like that? Then he told me that I was ignorant. And I'm like, what? He said, yeah, you people are ignorant.
No. All right. So he did say, I want to say he did say that he called her ignorant, and even the lady, the employee who said that he never said go back, she did say that yes, he called her ignorant. Okay. But there was no comment about you people are ignorant.
That's when he said, you go back where you came from. That is why I said on camera, I never backtracked anything that I said. I said on camera.
Never backtracked. You never backtracked anything. Okay.
That yes, he made references to going back where you came from. Because before he said...
That's backtracking. Because in your video, you clearly said that he clearly said, you go back, why don't you go back to where you came from? Those were the words that you said that he said. Okay? You're changing your story now. You're going back. Come on.
Said go back where you came from. He said you're ignorant and you people are ignorant. So that to me, that means when you say who's around me, you talking about me and my daughter, or are you talking about me as a black woman?
Or maybe he was talking, if he did say that, maybe he's talking about people who are inconsiderate to other people, who are inconsiderate to the rules that are posted in stores. Maybe he means you people who have no respect for rules and laws.
And that's how I felt. And so that was my statement.
Let's go to line number 1 before we talk to Attorney Griggs. Line number 1 has Wayne from Stockbridge. Wayne, go right ahead.
Yeah, Ms. Thomas, my thing is that, you're in express lane, you got 20 items, and you're saying you're pregnant, and it's hard for you, but there's millions and millions of other women out there who are 9 months pregnant that do the right thing. And if you're having trouble...
And I love the looks that they're giving to each other, as if just because she's pregnant, all right? Just because she's pregnant, that she doesn't have to follow that rule, all right?
Trouble getting your groceries, they got the car she can ride in to help you with your groceries. It should be an extra privilege, especially you being a lawmaker.
What'd you say about that?
Okay, so all right, so I'm gonna give these guys a benefit of the doubt, not her, and not that greasy little bow tie wearing snake that's sitting beside her. All right, everybody, all those other people who are part of the show. Okay, I'm gonna give them the benefit of the doubt because they still think, all right, unless they're just simping, because simping ain't easy, all right, and they could just still be believing that he really told her to go back to where she came from. Okay, so they're looking at it as if, well, it doesn't matter if she's pregnant, or that she broke the rule. He still shouldn't have said go back to where you came from. That doesn't justify you saying a comment like that. All right, yeah, I get that. If that's why you're giving the looks, and I hope that's why you're looking at each other like that. So I gotta give you the benefit of the doubt. Okay, but the whole reason is the thing is that she's not saying, the guy calling in is saying this because nobody believes it. Nobody believes that this guy told her to go back to where she came from. You guys and other ignorant liberals who want to jump on the bandwagon because this is Trump's America, that you are going to believe what she says, knowing good and well that there's enough to show that she's lying.
That's funny that you say that, because I didn't mention to that man that I was a lawmaker. I never said nothing. Oh, I'm doing this because I'm a lawmaker, so we should not bring me being a lawmaker into it.
Yes, you are a lawmaker. We're bringing it into it. It doesn't matter whether he knew that you are a lawmaker. You are a lawmaker. And this is a rule. This is a rule in the grocery store. And you chose to ignore it. You take an oath, all right, to uphold rules and laws. And you're just saying that, oh, because I'm pregnant, that I'm just going to ignore the rule because I guess that's what feminism is getting to. All right, that's what liberalism is getting to. That that you can break rules, all right, and then get called out for it, and then people got to get crucified because you got called out for something bad happened to you because you did the wrong thing in the beginning. That's why it matters. So it does. We're bringing in the fact that you are a lawmaker because you should know better.
But what I will say, and I would like for my attorney...
he was basically saying, what he's trying to say is, as a lawmaker, you of all people should follow the rules.
So exactly, Frank Ski, this is the only good, smart thing that you said the whole time. All right, everything else has just been butt kissing, and this is the only thing that makes sense, that's smart, that you said.
Because you make the rules.
So again, I speak to that with saying, when you go into the line, do you count every single item that you have, or you say, oh, I don't have that many items, let me go to the 10-hour lane? And as my receipt says, I had 12 items. And what he's not...
So, that's trash, all right? Because I know what the express lane, I know what the limits are. And have I ever gone through the express lane with more than 10 items? Yeah, but I think this is the gist, all right, of what the issue is. All right, so the times that I've ever gone through the express lane with more than 10 items, all right, in order for me to do that, there's got to be nobody else in line, all right? Or if there's one person, then and that person's almost done, and there's nobody else around, okay? Then I'll go in the express lane, and as soon as I get up there, I'll say, and usually it'll be like I have 12. All right, or I'd have 13 items. Maybe it's some way that I justify it in my head when I do it. But let's say I've got 12 items. I've got 13 items. But 3 of those things, or 4 of those things are the same thing. All right, so I've got 9 different things, 9 different items, and then I've got like 4 gallons of water. Okay, then sometimes, and I will go through the line. But when I get up to the register, the cashier, I'll say, look, I got 12 items. Is that okay? I won't just sit there and pass off and act like I don't know how many items I have. I always know how many items I have. And if I've got more than 10 items, all right, I'm going to go through the regular line because, like I said before, the regular lines go faster to me. In most places that I go to, they go a lot faster than the express lane. So I don't even mess with the express lane. But if there's 3 lanes open and then the express lane, and all the other 3 lanes are like full with people with 3 or 4, with each lane having 3 or 4 people with full baskets, and then I've got like 12 items. All right, then if the express lane is empty, all right, then I'll go to the cashier and say, hey, look, I've got 13 items. Is it okay if I go through the express lane? And if they say okay, which normally they do say okay, all right, but if one said, where it's only for 10 items, I would turn around and walk away, but it's not a habit that I make. So, don't say that you don't count how many items you have. I always know how many items I have, unless. All right. Now, if I clearly have way more than 10, I have no clue how many I have. All right. If I'm actually grocery shopping, for like the week or for the whole house, then yeah, I don't know how many items are going to be in my cart because I'm just not going to count. But if I'm just going in to get several things, all right, I know how many things I buy. Okay, so don't sit there and say that you had no clue, that you don't sit there and figure out how many items that you have, because you at least thought that you had 15 items, by looking at it, by just assuming of what was in your cart, you knew that you had 15 items. And then other people knew that you had 20. So, you had an idea and knew that you had more than 10. Don't try that.
Nobody else is. What has not been stated is that my daughter was in line with me too, and you can see in the surveillance camera that she used her own card to buy 3 items. So for him to think that I had 20 items, no, I did not. I had 12 items, and then my daughter had items as well. And she you can see in the surveillance camera, she hands me her card, she purchased her items, we get her receipt, and we leave after that. So let's be clear on the 20 items. And the fact that the man had time to sit there and count every single one of my items, what rush were you in? And I did not inconvenience him, clearly did not inconvenience the man or anyone else in that store, because there were 2 other lanes open. And he said that in his statement. There were 2 other lanes open. He left, came back. You had enough time to do all of that, but you were in a rush.
Okay. Let me go back.
The man had time to sit there and count every single one of my items. What rush were you in, Alain? And as my receipt says, I had 12 items. And what he's not, nobody else is, what has not been stated is that my daughter was in line with me too, and you can see in the surveillance camera that she used her own card to buy 3 items. So for him to think that I had 20 items, no, I did not. I had 12 items, and then my daughter had items as well. And she you can see in the surveillance camera, she hands me her card, she purchased her items, we get her receipt, and we leave after that. So
all right, let's not get it twisted. I don't know what you're doing in the state of Georgia as far as education is concerned. I don't know if you went to Georgia schools, and I'm not trying to say this is a knock on Georgia schools or if it's just a knock to you. 12 is greater than 10. It's greater than 10. It doesn't matter if you had 12 and your daughter had 3. You had 12. The limit is 10, and 10 is less than 12. You had too many items. All right. So I'm gonna go ahead and bring this up now. I'm not gonna wait until we get into the portion of no. I'm gonna wait.
So let's be clear on the 20 items. And the fact that the man had time to sit there and count every single one of my items, what rush were you in? And I did not inconvenience him, clearly did not inconvenience the man or anyone else in that store, because there were 2 other lanes open. And he said that in his statement. There were 2 other lanes open. He left, came back. You had enough time to do all of that, but you were in a rush.
Do you not understand that how much time you took up in that express lane, if he had enough time to count your items, to go to another register through another line, to go talk to an employee, and then walk to the door, walk out the door, turn around and come back in and talk to you. Do you not understand how much time you ate up in the express lane? And he had all that time to do that? Yeah, are we not gathering the fact that apparently what you were doing was defying the logic of the express lane? All right, because it took you a long time to get through the express lane, and he had a lot of time to do all that stuff. All right, and we're gonna get to that later.
Sharon?
Some of this is not in dispute.
She's fine. I cannot. I can't, man.
And I can see your emotion, and my blood's getting ready to boil over here. The details here, the minutia. I see your attorney sitting next to you, Attorney Griggs, and that does matter. However, to think that we're talking about an express lane, let's say you did have 20 items. I saw the receipt, there was only 12. Are you that entitled? Are you that privileged that you deserve some kind of felony ticket if you did go through the express lane? I mean, aren't we missing the point here? He walked up to a 9-month pregnant woman he does not know, who now we learn from his own admission, he basically stalked you and watched you and counted, he thought incorrectly, your number of items.
Yeah.
And then he approached you and called you the B word. Shouldn't we focus on that? Are you upset about how the narrative has shifted? She's changed her story. The devil's in the detail. Doesn't that seem a little ridiculous?
Yeah. Yeah, you are fine. You are so fine, but...
Don't take this the wrong way, but you're the dumbest person alive.
None of that, of what you said, makes any sense. All right? It makes no sense. All right? And he eventually, Eric Sparks eventually explains why he did what he did. He explains what he did, why he came up and he felt the need to say something to her. And it makes complete sense of why he felt that he had an obligation to say something to this lady.
Yeah, it does. It does seem a little ridiculous. I don't understand how anybody can take up for a man that admitted to calling a 9 months pregnant woman a lazy SOB because she had too many items from what he saw. Like, who can defend someone like that?
Yeah, I mean, I think that where
Attorney Griggs is here.
Sorry, well, I think where we're
Okay, so right there, as soon as before he opened his mouth, he was lying. Just so that you understand that. So he's an attorney, and anytime you see a black attorney with a bow tie, he's a piece of crap. All right, and just for the fact that he's an attorney, he is not because he is defending her. All right, he is a liar. And that's one of the things, going through my divorce that I've learned is that attorneys. All right, I never really understood why they talk about attorneys being evil, and being like the devil, until I went through a divorce. And the lying that comes out of attorneys, all right, is unfathomable. And it is so horrible. Like you could never think that anybody could be so evil to tell lies on someone, to lie against someone. But when you deal with attorneys, you see how evil they are. And and you attribute to what attribute is attributed to Satan the most. He is a liar, and he's the father of lies. And that is the best thing that attorneys know how to do, and they know how to lie. You know, the only other people that I feel like know how to lie more are Black Hebrew Israelites. You know, they've got the market cornered on lying. But after them, attorneys, I think attorneys are tied with each other.
We're trying to go here is that shifting the narrative, but the most important thing is this: an African American woman was berated in a public establishment because.
Do you have any proof? All right, let's go through to lawyer talk, because this is all hearsay. All right, hearsay does not matter in court. All right, where's the proof that he berated her? Do we have proof? No. So if there's no proof, if it's just hearsay, if no one is there to back anything of what you're saying up, then what you say is not amicable, or if that's the right word, applicable in court. It won't be held up in court because it's all hearsay. It's your word against his word. And if there's no one there to corroborate your story, then I don't understand why you're there. I don't understand why you're there, sir.
She allegedly had too many items, and the ticket now shows she didn't have too many items.
Yes, she did have too many items. I don't know where you got your law degree. I don't know how you got into law school if you don't understand the concept that 12, that's on her receipt, not the ticket, but maybe that's a dialect thing, but anyway, that 12 items on her ticket, quote unquote, on her receipt, 12 is more than 10. The limit is 10. 12 is more than 10. She had too many items. I can't.
So my question is, when is it appropriate to verbally berate and call a black woman with her child a B, and then to admit to it, and then backtrack his own statement, and then admit to it?
I don't think he ever backtracked his own statement. He was very adamant in explaining and consistent with his story on what he said. And again, do you have proof that he berated her, even though he admitted that he called her a lazy bee? All right, where is the verbal attack that you said happened? Where's it at? Where is your proof? What witnesses do you have, sir? Counselor?
Again and call her a B again in the press conference. This is about standing up for African American women. We need.
Really? He called her a B at the press conference? Where did that happen? Where did that happen? Now, okay.
To wrap our arms around Representative Thomas and any.
Sir, Counselor, you do know that it's the World Wide Web, all right? And it's the internet. Google it. Anybody can find and watch the press conference and know that what you're saying is not true, but you're expecting people to not do that. You're expecting for people to just believe what you're saying.
Any other woman that is attacked in this way, and this man needs to be held accountable, because even in his own statements, he admits to going out of the establishment.
That doesn't matter. Doesn't matter.
Coming back into the establishment, calling her a name in front of her child. And
is that illegal? Is it illegal to call someone a name in front of their child? I don't think it is.
Then continuing to berate her. So I don't know why the narrative is trying to be shifted. This is about accountability for him.
Where's the accountability for her? Where's the accountability for a lawmaker to ignore a rule in a place of business? Where is that accountability? Or better yet, where's the accountability for her humility? All right? Where's it at? All right, now if she wants to say that he was wrong for even talking to her about that, okay? Now we see that his story is that he comes up and he says, "Excuse me, I don't mean to be rude, but the sign says blah blah blah." Okay? And now we know what happened. We know what happened. We know the way that she responded. And we don't need to see, we don't need to even hear, because the way that she's acting now, the way that she acted at the press conference exactly shows the way that she responded to him. Okay? But she could not even humble herself to understand that, you know what? Yes, I did break the rule. And she could have said, you know what? You're right. I'm sorry. I should not have broken the rule. I should not have gone to the express line with more than 10 items, but I'm pregnant and I can't stare it very long. I just wanted to get in and out as fast as I could. I'm sorry. Why is there no accountability for that to have been her reaction? But we're going to throw the accountability on the guy who was just, I mean, he was just as bad in what he did. He could have just said, I stand up for him 100% for him speaking to her for the fact that she did that she went through the lane. But he should have just left it at, excuse me, ma'am, I don't, I don't mean to be rude, but, the sign says, express line, 10 or less items, you have more than 10 items, I feel, you should not have gone through there. This line is specifically for people who have less than 10 items or 10 or less items. And I believe, and I feel that you were in the wrong. And then he should turn around, walked away. And if she had something to say, he should have kept walking. That's what he should have done. But he stayed and he went he tried to battle with a buffalo. And we see what happened. All right, you don't sit there and try to battle with a black woman. Don't matter if she's pregnant or not. But we know what happens when you confront a black woman in public. I'm sorry, you can say that is racist. You can say, I don't know how you can tell a black man that he's being racist when he's calling out the way that black women act in public. Not all of them, but a lot of them. They do act like that. And if you say that a lot of them don't, then you're lying. All right? But that's the way, you can't say that is racist. You might argue and say that, hey, that's a prejudice statement. You're stereotyping all black women, which I said it's not all black women. I said it's a lot of them. All right? But, she clearly, in everything that she has shown, then, we can clearly see that she met his comment with aggression.
She's been consistent from the very beginning to now.
You can't really say that. Come on.
The story has not changed, and we need to focus on the individual who's now admitted to what he's done.
JR?
You talk about verbal accountability, and he's the one who came at you and said these disgusting things. What are those next steps? Are you looking to get him charged on harassment? What are those next steps?
Well, in Georgia, it's a violation of the law. It's simple assault, and it's cruelty to children in the third degree. So we have at least 2 misdemeanors. We will be making contact. I believe my client has already made contact with the solicitor, and if we don't receive the justice that we need, we will go to the magistrate court.
So I don't know the Georgia laws in the state of Georgia when it comes to that, and he I feel like what he knows that that there's no grounds. But I think what they're wanting, what they were betting on happening, is to pick up a lot of steam with her story and to get a lot of press and public, outrage, so that something would have to be done. But the fact is that there was no public outrage, because she was outed as a liar very early in this whole situation. And as far as what I've heard is that the police have no plans on charging him with anything because he didn't break any laws.
And we will pursue this. We've already filed a formal police report, and we want the record to be clear. She had no reason to be attacked in the way she was attacked. I feel the entitlement.
She was not attacked. He told her was breaking the express lane rules, and then she fired back at him, and then he probably fired back at her, and if there was an exchange of words, and that's it. You know, you've got a mutual argument of people being idiots and acting like jerks to each other. You don't get to file charges because of that. And if anybody was abusing this child, it was her mother. Because, like I said before, why did she not humble herself, okay, and just admit to him that yes, she did wrong?
Entitlement of this individual by coming back up to the Publix and interrupting a press conference where she was getting out her story. We need to support her. That's why when I saw the video, it touched my heart as a father of a young African American female. At no point should she be treated that way, and people should have come to her aid.
404-7.
People are not going to come to the aid of somebody who's wrong. Point and simple. And when the argument continued to go on, someone did come, and the employee came and told him to leave. All right, so don't say no one came to your aid.
741 WVEE. Sharon, this is crazy.
It's crazy, and it strikes me. And you made the point before the break. Is this where we are, Frank? I mean,
Sharon, come on, please stop talking. You're losing my respect for you. You're losing this fire that I have for you. All right. I mean, every time when you're opening your mouth, it's just stupid stuff comes out, and I feel like you're ruining our love. Like we were supposed to have like this long future together. And you didn't even know. You don't even know it. But we were supposed to I was supposed to come and sweep you off your feet, and you were supposed to I was supposed to show you a whole new world of non-liberal and conservative mindsets, but just reality. And we were supposed to live life like you're supposed to live life, and we're going to be happy. We're going to have babies and just a great life, but you keep opening your mouth.
let's say she's in that line. She has 50 items. What I would see is a pregnant mother, and I would tell my daughter, go help her.
I would say if I saw her with 50 items, if I saw which you can't really tell that she's pregnant because she is a big woman, but that's neither here or there. But if I saw a woman and I saw that she was pregnant and she had 50 items in the express line, maybe tell your child, hey, can you go show her to the regular aisle, because 50 is clearly more than. There's no way that you didn't know that you didn't have more than 10 items. I mean, why go through the express lane? Why go through the express lane if you know that you've got 50 items? Why? Why? You're ruining it for us.
Can you go help her? Where's the compassion? He said, that has nothing to do with it. You're pregnant. Where's the compassion? Are we not human beings anymore? That's what really, really strikes me.
Do we not think that we have to follow rules when we're black and when we're female and when we're pregnant? Is that where we are in a society? All right, that rules and laws don't mean anything if you're black, if you're a black woman, if you're a woman, if you're pregnant, or if you are an undocumented immigrant. Laws don't apply to you. Got it.
And Attorney Griggs, my question for you is, and I know you went over it, here's what you do, because we really were wrestling, what's the crime here?
He's lying. Oh, my fault. He hasn't started talking yet.
Right?
He's lying.
I mean, it's tacky. The whole thing is disgusting. But what's the crime? Why is it important in this case? She was not touched, physically, to go out and swear out that warrant.
Well, I mean, it's clear what happened. Even from both sides, you can hear who was the aggressor, and it's clearly this individual who admitted to it in the press conference. And so that's simple assault, putting somebody in reasonable fear of receiving an imminent violent injury. You can see that. And then you see his cruelty in the third degree with her child being present there.
Okay, you just said that that clearly we see who the aggressor was. At this point in time, we had not seen video. There had not been any video released from the store. So how can you say it's clear we see who the aggressor is? We hear his side, we hear her side, and we hear his words, her words, and he's not seeming like the aggressor. Is he the institutor? The person who initiates, the initiator, sorry. Is he the initiator of this incident? Yeah, he's the one that what would you call it? He's the one that interacts with her. So I guess you could call him the initiator of the incident, although she started it by not going through the right line. But yes, he's the one that comes up and talks to her. But I think in order to kind of get an idea of who the aggressor was, we got to look back at the way that she is, all right, the way that she interacts with people, and she cries on her video, and she's like, oh, but I just get it. All I could sit there and say was leave me alone. Like she dropped down to the ground into the fetal position and cried and rolled over and over and didn't know what to do. This is the way that she portrayed herself to be when this happened. All right, so let's look back at the video of when she is confronting him at the press conference.
I thought about it for a second, almost walked out, walked back in, went up to the lady, which I did not know her name, did not know her stature as a state legislature or anything, and asked her.
You don't get a spotlight. You don't get anything at all because you degraded me and you paraded me, and everybody needs to see your face on camera. Right? Yes, I know it's on camera, and everybody needs to know that what you did to me. And
like he's just saying he's letting her dig her own grave. All right, he's like, all right, this is on camera, the way that you're acting, all right, and the camera's in public, so he's reminding her that there are cameras in public, and they're going to see how you sat there and you talked to him, and then we see the way that you're talking to him now.
What you did to me as a woman that is 9 months pregnant, and you think you're going to get away with this? No, you're not. You are going to jail. And this speaks for every, oh no, I'm showing myself. This speaks for every black, brown, and any woman that's out there that's 9 months pregnant, and a white man comes up to you and calls you a son of I don't care what you are, yes you are. If anybody comes up to you and calls you a son of it, I am facing the man that degraded me and berated me, and I'm not crying. No, I'm not. I'm standing right in front of you. And if you know how you made me feel.
Look at her. I mean, look at her. She's talking down to this man. She's berating him on camera. And we're going to sit here and believe that she just cowered down when he came up and talked to her in the the grocery store. She's talking to him like she's like he's her 10-year-old son. She's pointing at him, throwing a hand up in his face, cutting him off. This is a grown man you're sitting here talking to, and you're sitting here and you're just tearing him down. There's no way that when he spoke to you in that store that you talked to him any differently than you're talking to him right now. Because if you felt threatened from him, you would not sit here and be showing out like you are right now.
Yesterday, if you know how you made my daughter feel.
Back off before I call the police.
Call the police right now because they are looking for you.
I already
They are
talked to
looking
them.
for you.
I already talked
It's
to them.
okay. I am so
Back
happy
off.
that you're here.
Am
And
I
I'm happy
arrested?
that everybody needs to see this man that did this to me. And he thinks that he gets a 5 minutes of fame. You think that you're going to come up when you see police, when you see SB 46, you think you're going to come up here and get a spotlight? No, you're not.
And no, he's not looking for a spotlight. What he's looking to do is defend himself. Why? Because of libertards like you who sit here and try to play the race card and do whatever you can to race bait and ruin people's lives. How many people have had their jobs ripped from them because they said they made a comment that someone was offended, and the comment that they made wasn't even racist or wasn't offensive, but because we have this witch hunt mentality to go after and try to destroy anybody who's white, conservative, liberal. I mean, not liberal. White, conservative, religious. Anybody who disagrees with leftist, feminist mindsets and values, then those people are attacked and they lose their jobs, they lose, things that are important to them. So he is trying to defend himself, which he has the right to do. You don't get to sit there and slander this man without him getting to talk and clear his name. You don't get to do that. So he's showing up. And he's trying to tell the truth because clearly, Erica, you weren't prepared to tell the truth, and you had nothing in your heart, that made you want to tell the truth.
The only spot that you're going to get is everybody needs to see the man that did this to
are
a
you a
woman
state
that's
legislator?
9 months
Are
pregnant.
you a state legislator?
Thank you. Nobody is here for you.
Are you a state
Nobody's here for
legislator?
you. Thank you. We can continue my interview.
Yeah, because that completely sounds like a woman who would allow for someone to just say something as simple as go back to where you came from, to belittle or berate her, like that, that little scenario, that little juicy little goblet of loveliness that you just saw from her, all right, is her character. That's absolutely her character.
But I think what we as a community need to understand is we need to get back to the old days when we cared for one another. If you see this type of situation occurring, people need to intervene. The store needed to intervene, not send him over there. Intervene and say, listen, we know the climate in this country is interesting, to say the least.
Okay, so I'm going to stop you right there. So the store should have intervened within the establishment of their rules, because this is something that has all the way back since I worked at a grocery store myself, and I was a bagger, and I always wondered, like, if there's an express lane, all right, that's 10 items or less, and that the only people who are supposed to go in that line are people who have 10 items or less. All right, if you have more than 10 items, you're not supposed to go. All right, clear. It makes sense, right? Okay. Now, what I don't understand is if this is a policy and this is a service that is set up, all right, within your establishment, if you are not even going to enforce that rule, why even have it? Like, why have the express lane if it doesn't matter how many items you really have? So if you're not going to go and tell a person, hey, this is express lane, just get rid of the express lane, because the honor system apparently doesn't matter. All right, the honor system only matters if you're a white male or probably a black male, and that's it. But it may be a white woman, but if you're black, if you're a black woman, all right, or if you're pregnant, then apparently it doesn't matter. All right, the rule doesn't matter, and you don't even have to act like it matters. You don't even have to act like there was a rule at all. You know, you get to walk around and be like, what, express lane, 10 items or less? Like, I have to abide by that? Like, you get to walk around and act like that. If you're pregnant and you're black and you're a congresswoman or a senator, whatever she is, I think she's a congresswoman.
But we can de-escalate it. We can be the bigger people and say we're not going to do that today. We're not going to do that in Metro Atlanta. And so what I would say to the Atlantans out here is this. You had a pregnant woman who was verbally berated. If it was in any other community, in any other complexion, we wouldn't even be having this debate.
You know what? What I would love for Atlanta to do is to fix the AIDS problem, you know, that exists in Georgia, and to fix like a lot of stuff that goes on in Atlanta. Fix that stuff. And you're sitting up here worrying about a squabble in a grocery store. Okay. All right.
Somebody would have stepped up. It's time for us to step up and protect our people, because like the caller said, this should have never happened in the Publix off of Veterans Memorial. It should have
never happened because she should not have been in the express lane.
Never happened in front of her child. She shouldn't have been called to be in the press conference after it all happened again. The issue is disrespectful language that is in fact criminal, the way he did it the first time. So we gotta deal with this situation.
Let's go to the phones. Alicia from Atlanta, go ahead with your comment.
My question is, if she was a white woman, then he would have said the same thing to her. We have even big concerns if she was white.
Right, exactly. Thank you for your call.
Victoria from Atlanta.
I like how. So this is the first call where anybody was not jumping on her case, and I believe that they were so scared that she was going to go somewhere else with this that they got rid of. No, we gotta go. All right, you said something that supports her. All right, we gotta go to the next caller.
Anna, what do you think?
Yes, I like the representative, but I want to say two things. Number one, if she had more than 10 items, she shouldn't have been in that line. And the second thing is, she said that she's 9 months pregnant and she could not stand. She stood outside for maybe 20, 30 minutes arguing with the man on camera. So she couldn't have been that distressed. So I don't think that's fair. I mean, let's be fair.
Let me go back
if she was a white woman, then he would have said the same thing to her. We have even big concerns if she was white.
Right, exactly. Thank you for your call.
Victoria from Atlanta, what do you think?
Yes,
Victoria, you're amazing. All right, I know I've already heard what you said. Victoria, you are amazing. You are an amazing American.
I like the representative, but I want to say two things. Number one, if she had more than 10 items, she shouldn't have been in that line. And the second thing is,
see, this is the issue. Why are people scoffing at people when they're telling her that she should not have been in the lane if she had more than 10 items? She's like, terrible. Why? You should not have been in the lane. Why can you not admit that you should not have been in the lane? This is why no one is respecting you. And this is why the first guy called, and he's looking for facts and he's looking for truth, because he wants to know if he can support you or not, or if he's just going to be supporting a liar. Okay, but you won't even humble yourself to admit that you did something wrong.
she said that she's 9 months pregnant and she could not stand. She stood outside for maybe 20, 30 minutes arguing with the man on camera. So she couldn't have been that distressed. So I don't think that's fair. I mean, let's be fair. You shouldn't be in that line whether you're pregnant or not if you have more than 10 items. And in her Facebook post, she said, I have 15 items. Now she's saying I had 12 and my daughter had 3.
What do you say to that, Erica?
Because for one, I was upset. And just like exactly, that's what I assumed, that as I had about 15 items. The point was that I was admitting that I had more than 10 items. After I looked at the receipt, I saw that I had 12. The man said I had 20. Are we disputing that? Are we disputing because he said I had 20 and I really now have 12? Why is everything on me? Why is this man having time to even count my items? The whole point is that
even more importantly in this situation, and for the caller who's on there, even more importantly is, who are you? Like, who are you? What are you now? The shopping police?
Yeah.
Okay, so still, no one is willing. No one from V-103 is willing to, to put on their big boy pants and hold her accountable for the fact that she was wrong. Nobody. And this is the problem that I have with our people, is that we sit here and we do all kinds of crooked stuff, illegal stuff, bad stuff, and then we get caught by the police, we get roughed up, we get shot, we get whatever happens, and we've got our kids who go to school, act like darn fools, and get told off or get jacked up by a teacher, but instead of holding that person accountable for their actions, we then start making excuses to hate the result of what happened to them. I mean, I understand that, hey, no one deserves, you rob a store, all right, and even if it's not, you rob a store and it's not by gunpoint. All right, you go in, you strong arm a box of cigars. You don't deserve, at the end of the day, you don't deserve to die for that. But guess what? You would not have died if you didn't go and rob the store. Nobody would have been checking for you. The police wouldn't have been looking for you. They wouldn't have had to stop you. But instead of being able to sit there and tell whatever his name is, I don't even remember his name. He died. But instead of telling, wanting to tell him, dude, you were stupid. You put yourself in that position because you didn't do what was right. Instead of wanting to tell him that, we have to then try to go and make excuses for, to say why the outcome shouldn't have happened. And I get it. So I'm not making light of someone dying, as I said before. All right, but in this situation, nobody is stepping up to say, Erica, you should not have been in the line. It's the express lane. You had more than 10 items. You should not have been there. You, of all people, should know, because you're a lawmaker. You should have followed the policy and the procedures and the rules of the store. All right? So now let me get into the whole thing, because I love that. Victoria, you're awesome, awesome, awesome. I love you. All right? The meat of what she was trying to say, all right, goes back to prove that Erica Thomas is just a very inconsiderate woman. That's that's the gist of what it is. She's a liar and she's inconsiderate. Okay, so why is that? All right, I brought up the fact that she went through the express lane. Okay, but it gave Eric Sparks enough time to count how many items he had, to go to another line, buy his stuff, go talk to someone, and go talk to an employee, get advice from the employee, start walk out the door, and then turn around and come back and walk up to you, and you're still in line. That's a lot of time. And you were supposed to be going through the express lane. Okay, so let me show you why you're inconsiderate. Number one, you are a lawmaker, you're a wife, but you're also a mother. Okay? And what you are refusing to own up to, because you're not willing to own up for the fact that you didn't do what you were supposed to do, now you're teaching your daughter that she doesn't have to follow rules. That as long as she can come up with some BS excuse to not follow the rules, she doesn't have to. Because you should have been teaching her, all right, once you got called out for being in the express lane with too many items, you had a daughter that was sitting right beside you, that was standing right beside you, that you should have humbled yourself, you should have sucked it up, and you should have said, you know what, sir, you're right. I should not have gone through this lane. The rule does say 10 items or less. Why? Because not even for yourself. Forget yourself. Forget what you were feeling in the moment. You should have done that for your daughter. And now, because she doesn't think that she has to follow something as simple as a rule in a store, that she's not going to believe that she has to follow anything. And then now all she has to do is just make it is when she gets called out for something, or she gets in trouble for something, when she gets in trouble for school, she can say, because I'm a black girl. You treat me like this because I'm black. Because I'm just a little girl. That's what you're teaching your child. So you are in the wrong, because not only because you didn't follow the rule of the store, the express lane line, but because you're a garbage parent, because you're sitting there breaking rules in front of your daughter instead of owning up to it, you're making excuses. Which is just going to teach her to do the same exact thing. Because why is she going to do the right thing now? Why? Because all she has to do is just get online, get on Facebook Live, cry, and then get a press conference. So that's problem number one. That to show the inconsideration, you don't even care about your child, that you're acting like, she was saying, but mommy, why did he call you that? No, you don't care about her. All right, inconsiderate. Okay, and let's go over here. All right, if you were pregnant, and you knew that you could not stand long, all right, this is when I tell my daughter, who wants to use her debit card for the very first time, this is when I say, baby, not today. I can't stand that long. No, I can't. Because that if she's never used her debit card before, it's going to take a long time for her to make that transaction. And when you've got a little child who's doing something for the first time, they take forever. I remember going out to on a field trip with some of my students. And after the field trip, when we were on our way home, we stopped at McDonald's, or some kind of restaurant. And while we're there, there's a little girl that's she's waiting in line, and she's just sitting there, and I'm like, are you gonna order? And she's like, I don't know how, and I'm like, do you know what you want? And she was like, yeah. I was like, so you just go up to the lady and you tell her. And she's like, but I can't do it. I was like, why? Because I've never done it, and I don't know what to do, and I'm sitting here telling her what to do, but she couldn't do it. She was so scared that she had never ordered food before in her life, because her mom always did it, that she couldn't do it. She didn't feel like she could do it. And it took a long time trying to convince her that you can do it. All you got to do is just tell her what she wants. And after, I don't know how long it was, but it was a long time, about 5-10 minutes, maybe not that, but about 5 minutes of trying to convince her. I was like, all right, we can't stay here all night. So I just ordered the food for her. All right. And then I took her money, I gave it to the cashier, and then I gave her change back, because she couldn't do that. So I know what it's like when a child doesn't know how to do something, it's going to take a long time. So you telling me that you're pregnant, you can't stand long, but yet you're going to go with your daughter and you're going to act like you're going to go to your daughter and then you're going to let her do this for the first time, knowing it's going to take some time to do that, and you're going to waste more time with her trying to learn how to use a debit card. And so, and to make it even worse, you're in the express lane, the lane that's supposed to go faster. And not only are you not considerate of yourself because you supposedly can't stand long, but yet you are willing to stand there. You were willing to stand in line. One, you were willing to go to the grocery store to begin with, and then you were willing to wait to get your stuff and then wait for your daughter to buy her stuff that she's never done before. But you're also willing to let all the other people that have the right number of items behind you make them wait while your daughter figures it out and how to use her debit card in the express lane. Come on, no, Cray-Bay, no, you don't do that. You go through the regular line for that. Because if you go to the regular line, you expect that, hey, it's going to take a little bit longer, even though it may not. That's the expectation. It's probably going to take a little bit longer when you go through the regular line. But when you go through the express lane, if I know that I've got to get in and get out, I'm not going to expect to go through the express lane behind a woman who's got more items than 10 items, and a little girl who's never used a debit card before trying to use a debit card for the first time. Like that's just showing a complete lack of consideration for everybody around you except for you. So, it all boils down to, this is your character. All right? You are manipulative, you're evil, you're inconsiderate, and you're rude. And a liar on top of that, just to top off the tank. So let's not kid ourselves. All right, Erica Thomas, let's not kid ourselves. This is you. And all of these people, all of the people in the oblong table, all right, are sitting there just supporting buffoonery and cooning right along with you, because you should have known. All right, there was a comment that you made in your conference, and you said because the Lord is with me. All right, God does not like liars. Okay, and he does not like inconsiderate people. And if you were and he likes for people to be humble. All right, humility is a virtue that is respected among God. But you could not even humble yourself to admit that you were wrong. And that's the problem. That's the worst thing in all of this. And I'm not going to go through the rest of the interview, because I think I've covered way more than I thought that I felt like I was going to actually cover. But I feel like that this is it's an issue that it needs to stop. The lying. We are to the point where this is how can we not say that this is not the end times? Where the only thing it seems like people are lying, for the fun of it. And people love the lies. And they're willing to take these lies as if they're truth. And it's bad because I don't believe anytime someone comes out with a story, with one of these kinds of stories, I feel like it's a lie. And it's hard for me to believe it, because there's been too many lies. Too many hoaxes, people coming out telling their lies. So I honestly feel that, though, as American people, this stuff needs to stop, and we've got to speak up. And we've got to get these people out of office. We've got to get the Erica Thomases out of office, who is so bold that she thinks that she can lie on a man who did nothing of what she said that he did to him for her political gain. We've got to get those people out. We've got to get Andrea, whatever, Cortez, AOC. We've got to get her out where she can sit there and take these deceptive pictures of that, like she's crying and she's looking at the horrible treatment of these kids when she's just staring at an empty parking lot. And we don't even call these people out on it. We don't even make them accountable to answer for their lies. And that's why it just keeps getting worse and worse, because we as American people do not demand more from our politicians. And you can't just sit there and demand more from the person that you hate. I think everybody's more willing to demand more from Donald Trump, knowing that no great percentage of the people in this country, of the leftists, the liberals, I'm willing to guarantee you that the vast majority of those people have said some racist stuff in their past. And I guarantee you, if they got called out, if someone had taped what they said, or someone had a letter or documentation of something that they said racist, they would flip. And they would not think that it was okay that someone would take something that they said years ago and then try to twist it to make them sound racist, or to make them sound sexist, or misogynistic, or whatever the key word of the day is that we're going to hate on someone because they are, or because we say that they are. I could be 100% wrong on everything that I just said. I could be. What do you think? I'm going to end this right here. Give me your thoughts in the comments, and I'm going to leave it there. So this is Logan Oren, the Troll for Truth. Why? Because the truth should mean something.